Hello and welcome to a new season of Girls on Deck, this time just in person. Today I'm joined in the studio by Jeffery Laux and Hannah Russo. Jeffery, how are you feeling to be here today?
It's a pleasure to always be here and talk sports. It's always a great time of the season.
Hannah, what about you?
Oh, I'm very excited, especially now that we're back in person.
Yeah, absolutely. We have plenty of stuff to talk about on the show today, but we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll begin talking.
Kayla or Hannah?
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, now I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
This summer was an eventful one in sports, between the Bucks winning the NBA Finals and the 2020 Summer Olympics finally being able to happen. There was definitely plenty to talk about, so we're going to dive into it. Jeffery, what was your favorite moment in summer of sports?
My overall favorite moment had to go for the Masters. Watching Hideki Matsuyama take it home to Japan was a thrilling event. You know, Zalatoris was right behind him and hit 2 birdies back to back and was on his tail, and everyone was at the edge of their seats. And to see, you know, Matsuyama take it at the end like that, it was something, you know, fantastic to see. And the statement that he made after the game is what made it deeper than the actual sport itself. You know, people were asking him, how does it feel to be the first Japanese Masters player ever? And his response was, you know, I just want to see 5 to 10 years from now my impact be seen in the game, see more talented Japanese coming over to America and playing in this top premier sport, you know, showcasing the talents that's overseas. So it was a great experience to watch, and the Masters was extremely exciting, especially, you know, with everything being missed because of COVID in the past.
Yeah, definitely. I would have to say mine is going to be the MLB trade deadline. It was shocking having dynamic duos split up, and athletes that weren't expecting to be traded were traded, including Anthony Rizzo, the first baseman left-hand hitter who was traded from the Chicago Cubs to the New York Yankees. He's one of 5 Yankees now, joining Joe DiMaggio and Hank Bauer, to have hit an RBI within his first 4 games.
Yeah, I can't agree more, Hannah. I think that was something that was definitely a big shock to a lot of people. I feel like the Cubs just kind of cleared house overnight almost. You know, you got rid of the dynamic duo, Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo. They were iconic as a duo together, so it was so sad to see them go, but it was definitely a very exciting trade deadline for sure.
It was.
My personal favorite moment of the summer would have to be the Summer Olympics. I love it all. I love the gymnastics, the swimming, all of the above, but my favorite moments included 2 female track athletes this summer. Allison Felix beat out Carl Lewis's record with 11 medals in the Olympics now, her first being in 2004. So it was over a decade-long run of going and attempting to do this, and she finally beat him after, you know, the scandals of Nike dropping her because she was pregnant and stuff, and she really showed that she can come back even at her age, you know, older for the sport, and just completely dominate. So that was really an amazing moment. My other one would have to be between Jasmine Camacho Quinn. She ran for Puerto Rico this summer and absolutely dominated. I mean, she was phenomenal, brought so much pride to the country. She only won their 2nd gold medal ever for the country, their 10th total. I mean, she just absolutely killed it for Puerto Rico, and it was so amazing to see after an island that's been through so much over the years, you know, between Hurricane Maria and just other things. It's so powerful for countries like that to get such a amazing athlete to do such accomplishments. Jeffery, what else do you think over the summer really caught your eye?
I mean, just the overall encompassing NFL season. I'm excited. The preseason is here. It's finally pretty much over now. My personal team went 3-0. Watching any of the teams go 3-0 is always a great option to go into the full season. And I was very glad to see these young QBs that were very, very heckled, and you know, Trevor Lawrence only being that one, and then Justin Fields getting put down to the dirt, but then watching the performances in the preseason, Zach Wilson putting up an admirable grade, Mac Jones putting up an admirable grade. You know, Trey Lance looks like the dual threat he's supposed to be. I mean, there's a lot of good talent that's coming to our league, and we're not going to be growing up with Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. You're not going to be growing up with these guys. We're growing up with Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, Daniel Jones, Deshaun Watson, you know, if he does come back. So there's a lot of options.
The new era of NFL is definitely here, but I don't want to touch on that too much because we'll get to that later with some NFL predictions. But I feel like we have to talk about the NBA Finals a little bit, the Milwaukee Bucks winning. Hannah, did that surprise you, or were you expecting them to win?
I was expecting them to win over the Phoenix Suns, but I was also very excited to see them win. It was something that they really deserved and they really pushed for at the end. The last game was one that I was on the edge of my seat for, honestly. They just kept going and they kept pushing, and the fight was always there. Giannis put up one of his best games yet.
Jeffrey, what about you?
The finals is great. I agree with the consensus that we all want to see Chris Paul win his ring. But sooner or later, we'll see all of our lost heroes win their rings, with hopefully Melo going to LA. A lot of changes during this free agent period. Russell Westbrook going. A lot of teams now seeking for that role to join a young squad. Maybe some older players join a young squad, just like Chris Paul did with Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton. Try to build those two guys up. There's a lot of teams with a lot of young talent that can be molded into star potential if they have that one leader on a team. So you're starting to see, after the finals, you're starting to see a lot of teams go after that one vet that can, you know, aid their 2 or 3 young players that haven't really got the game just down pat yet, especially for the playoff times, because playoff times are so much more different for these rookie players. So we're starting to see a shift in the NBA.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can say, I think, you know, a lot of people going into those finals, they're like, oh, it's not going to be an exciting finals. You know, they're not they're not the Lakers, they're not the Heat, you know, they're not teams like that. But I think it was one of the more exciting finals to watch. I think, you know, you're rooting for 2 underdog teams that both really equally deserved it at the end of the day. I had wanted to see the Suns win just for Chris Paul's sake, but he's going to be there another year, and I think, you know, Giannis, absolutely, you couldn't deny it. I mean, the man was just like a beast throughout the entire finals. So it was truly exciting to watch. I remember I was on vacation at the time, and I would always try to make it back to the hotel to finish the game, but it was absolutely a truly exciting finals to watch for sure. Well, when we come back, we're going to dive into more MLB topics, but stay tuned.
Welcome to the HTF Hot Wings Challenge. What do you guys actually do hot sauce like regularly?
No. It's like the least black thing I do.
Oh, wow, okay.
I say Johnny goes first on this one.
I agree.
The Buccaneers are going to play the Washington football team.
That can't happen.
It will happen.
I'm terrified.
No, I really hate it.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. No. You're wrong. If it wasn't for Kanye jumping up on stage and doing the I'm gonna let you finish, but no one would know what this one.
Nitros, dump truck. And if you don't know what I'm talking about,
Why is the nitro thick?
I don't know how many squats I need to do to get up like something like that, but I will do it.
Oh! Oh my God!
Baseball, obvious reasons. Babe Ruth, if you want to go currently. I feel like that's just like a thing.
he jumped off the wall to catch the home run. We made it through all the way to the end. Thank you for joining us.
I'm never doing this again.
It was rough.
It's crazy to think that we're already approaching the end of this MLB season. A lot has happened, as Hannah mentioned before, crazy trade deadline, and now we're approaching, you know, the World Series. So, Jeffrey, I want to go to you first, and I want to know what team has surprised you most as being on top right now?
The 82-44 San Francisco Giants. With the average age of your team ranging from the 32 and 33 range, it's not looking pretty for usual MLB teams, but this MLB team is definitely different. Taking young stars that were of the past, like Evan Longoria, Buster Posey, Johnny Cueto. There's a lot of players that, you know, past their primes and still want to play for a meaningful team. And there's a lot of teams that want to go in the tank or rebuild mode. But these guys, they didn't put too much money into them, and the coaches have relayed all of the responsibility into these older players into making this a, you know, really, really good team. You know, we thought the Padres and the Dodgers were going to be taking this, but the Dodgers are right behind them. And like you said earlier, there's no way for them to even catch up record-wise right now with the Giants. And they haven't exposed their top prospect yet in Joey Bart. Joey Bart is going to be a stud, especially for them leading into the postseason.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
could not agree more. The Giants were definitely my pick for most shocking. It's definitely not a team that you put at the top of your list going into this season at all. And in the division that they are, you would expect, if not the Dodgers, and the Padres. But no, it's the Giants. And I saw a tweet the other day, like we talked about before, where it was like the Dodgers have won however many games in a row and they still cannot catch up to the Giants. That's just how much they are dominating this year. So I absolutely agree with that. And their infield has been around for a little bit, so it's really exciting for them. I'm as a Dodgers fan, I would hope not to be, but I'm excited for the Giants. I think it's well deserved, and if they keep playing like this, who knows what can happen. Hannah, what do you think?
The Giants definitely surprised me as well, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. The Chicago White Sox, they're a team that you expect to be the underdog. They're not someone that you would think would be on top, but they've really proved themselves this season, including Sunday night's win over the Chicago Cubs, their crosstown rival, ending in 13-1.
Yeah, I think the Chicago White Sox are definitely a team that to look out for. They have been the past couple seasons. I just always feel like they fall short in the end. So
They do.
As long as they're doing good now, I definitely think that's something that could happen for them. But I don't know, Jeffrey, what do you think?
I mean, I agree. Overall, it's just the MLB is kind of transitioning into a way where it's more of the older players making a statement against the younger players. I mean, there's a lot of players that are being undiscovered right now within like the minor leagues. I mean, Lamonte Wade Jr., I know he's an also Giants player, and I'm tailing back to that, but he played less than 50 games more than 2 years ago with the Twins, and now he's hitting over a 3-run blast over a span of 9 games. So I definitely agree. How about you, Hannah?
Yeah, I would say so as well. Mentioning Evan Longoria, like you said earlier, he's someone that a lot of people knew, and he played for the Tampa Bay Rays, but he's someone who's making a statement with the Giants, and like you said, he is in the 32-33 range, and he's someone I do expect to see a lot more from moving into the postseason.
Absolutely, and I think, that's something, as you're saying, Jeffrey, we're seeing success of farm systems across the MLB. We're seeing these rookies coming up and absolutely dominating. So it's super exciting to watch like that older generation and that younger generation kind of competing and working together at the same time. So it's definitely something that's been super exciting to watch this MLB season. Now, something that's not so exciting to watch would have to be the teams that we thought would do amazing doing poorly. So Hannah, I'm going to throw it to you. What team were you just really disappointed in this season?
I'm going to go ahead and say the Los Angeles Angels. It's someone you would expect to be on top with the both sides of the ball pitcher, Shohei Ohtani. I mean, he's comparable to Babe Ruth, according to a lot of MLB critics. So the fact that they're ranked 4th right now in the AL West is a little disappointing.
Yeah, I don't think that's something that we're not used to, though, with the Angels. They've had Mike Trout this entire time. They got Rendon from the Nationals, and they never figure out how to use Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout are easily the 2 best talents you have in the 100%. MLB, and they cannot figure out how to use them correctly. So that is always something that will be truly disappointing to me. Jeffrey, what about you?
I mean, I'm going to go with Minnesota Twins. They've been disappointing us for the past 10, 15 years now. I feel like the overall franchise has been a disappointment to the MLB. I mean, they not only trade Nelson Cruz, but you trade your ace, Jose Barrios, when he's playing at a top of his career. And then, you have Luis Arias, and then you have Max Kepler, but they haven't kept up at all for the team, and they're getting paid big money right now. So it seems like that franchise hasn't done really well with the farming system as other teams that Tampa Bay has done. There's just no outcome for the Minnesota Twins right now that says, hey, this team has a beautiful future looking into 3 to 4 years from now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I don't think they're setting themselves up like other teams have set themselves up. But I want to know what you guys think about the Marlins. I mean, obviously they had their Cinderella story of a year last season, but now they're, doing as I guess we expect, but I feel like I expected them to do better at the same time. What do you guys think?
I would definitely say we both expected them to do better. They've made it so far last season, and they're ranked at the bottom of their division right now. And that's not something that you would expect, too. I believe they defeated the Yankees in 1 or 2 games, too, and that's Derek Jeter's old team, and he's with the Marlins now. So just seeing them be at the bottom and not performing as well as they did last season is disappointing.
And it all starts up top, just like you said, Derek Jeter. I mean, when are you going to make acquisitions for some big-time names in Miami? With a big market like that, you should be pulling some names that the Dodgers and the Angels are getting. And, you know, you only have an arch rival with the Tampa Bay Rays in Florida who are going to be pulling for these players in the free agent time. Tampa Bay doesn't have any type of, you know, luxuries like Miami to show off, doesn't have the roster, doesn't have the talent just yet. I mean, Tampa Bay is number 3 in the league right now, but that's because of their farming system and, you know, their dedicated, you know, motivation to making sure that their young players play out their career and not just sit on the minor leagues all the time. They actually promote their team. They send off veterans. They keep 1 or 2, but there's changes that need to happen with the Miami Marlins, and it all starts up top.
I could not agree more. And I think in Jeter's mind, this is kind of like my issue with him is I feel like he has this like gung-ho. He wants to be like the Rays. He wants to create his team. You know, he wants to be able to say that he created the Marlins of where they are now. But it's clearly not working. You've been trying for a little bit now. So I think, you know, get a star player in there, get someone to help boost it up until you can figure out however you want to create this farm system. So that's an issue I've always had. I think he just is too, gets too in his head about, you know, wanting to do that, wanting to have a successful farm system, wanting to create, again, the Marlins as a winning team. But I think it's time for a star player for sure.
100%.
So being where we are now in the season, obviously anything could happen. The Dodgers could get back on top or whatever it may be. But if the World Series were to happen now, who would you put in the World Series and who would you put winning? Jeffrey.
I'm going to be a bias. Rays versus Dodgers. I would kill to see the Rays being one more last championship, especially with this young talent on their team. I believe the Dodgers overall are going to, you know, take out the Giants. The Giants don't have that deep of a roster just like the Dodgers. The Dodgers have put money, time, a lot of effort into making sure their back ends are even good. Their bench is really good. Their bench could be a starting lineup on another team any given day. So I believe the Dodgers are going to take it all the way, especially since their depth is so really just there. You know, you don't see really any weaknesses within their team. And the Rays, I believe the Rays have a lot of young studs that they haven't really released just yet to the public. And we're going to see throughout the last half of the season that you're going to see the Rays move up from 3 to 2 or maybe all the way up to number 1.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Rays showed back up at the World Series and proved that they are the number 1 team and not the number 2 team. And I could also see the Padres going. They have amazing players like Fernando Tatis Jr., and they've really proved themselves this season. And I definitely think they could dominate in the World Series, but I think the Rays will end up taking it in the end.
I mean, I think we all agree on the division for the NL team, but not so much the team. I don't know. I kind of like the Giants' idea of them, you know, going to the World Series. I don't think they'll win because I also agree that I think as of now the Rays are most likely to go, and I think they would win. But I think it'd be a really cool World Series. I love anything where like the underdog team, the team that you're not expecting, kind of makes it all the way. It just makes it more exciting. That's what I loved about the finals this year and everything. So I'm definitely excited. But I could agree with that. That I think the Rays will take it all the way to the World Series and win at this moment in time. Now, over this MLB season, they introduced a new concept called City Connect jerseys. And I kind of want to have a little debate. A couple teams did it, some didn't do it so great, and some knocked it out of the park. So, Hannah, what was your favorite jersey of this series?
My favorite would be the Chicago White Sox, their pinstripes. It was an all-black uniform with white pinstripes, and across the chest it said Southside. It was honestly a great play, especially on their rivalry with the Northside Chicago Cubs, and I really enjoyed looking at those uniforms and seeing how they ended up playing out for that team. And I know a lot of fans did as well, considering they sold out at Dick's Sporting Goods and other stores were not able to hold them in stock.
Now I'm going to have to agree with you. And backing onto that number 1 sales spot, you don't really see jerseys, you know, skyrocketing on the first day it gets dropped. One of the things that Nike released when they released this jersey, the statement they released, was they were trying to take this back to the hip-hop culture that's really embellished in the Chicago culture. And I believe this is also the best jersey. But Miami's jersey also looks pretty nice. I mean, after like a 3rd or 4th Vice City edition, you have to just say this is the new alternate jersey for all Miami teams. You're going to see Miami FC, you're going to see Miami Marlins. Like you said with this jersey, you have Miami Dolphins by chance. There's a lot of Miami teams that are going the Vice route, and I think their jersey also looks very, very clean.
Yeah, I really loved, I have to say, the Chicago White Sox jersey as well, and it made it all the more funny. I don't know if you guys saw the picture with I think it was their manager that put like the hat on backwards and like kind of really embraced the look. So I just think it was funny, it was playful, it's kind of bringing, you know, more excitement to the MLB. You know, they can get caught up in a lot of traditional ways, which is great, but I think, you know, you have to appeal to a younger generation. And I know, Jeffrey, you were talking about this before, and I want you to touch on it a little more about, you know, how little things like this kind of create that newer generation of fans in the MLB.
Yeah, for myself, I grew up as a huge football and basketball fan because of the way they had to express themselves. Obviously, Roger Goodell with the NFL hasn't done the best job of allowing players to do that, but now the MLB is going after Adam Silver's take, where he's allowing players to wear custom wristbands, you know, custom chains, you know, paint their bat, you know, donate it to charity. They're allowing a lot more, you know, identity within these players, and I believe it's a really, really bright way for the MLB to go.
Yeah, I really like that as well. But Kayla, honestly, I'm surprised you didn't say the Dodgers royal blue uniforms with their Los Dodgers twist.
I'm not going to lie, I didn't like it. And I feel bad saying that. I was like, this is it. I really was expecting more. I was telling my mom the entire time, like, no, the Dodgers are last. They're going to have the best jersey, clean everyone out. Yeah. I thought it looked very similar to what they currently have. I thought it was a nice uniform, but I didn't think it was as shocking or as like cool as like, you know, the Boston's spin on it, the White Sox spin on it, or the Marlins spin on it. So I was a little underwhelmed with it for sure, but I don't know what's worse, the Dodgers one or the San Francisco Giants jerseys. What do you guys think?
I might have to agree with you on the Dodgers one. It was a little plain, and I really did like the Giants jersey with the kind of faded G on the chest.
I thought it was a little underwhelming. They hype it up so much, and I felt like between the Dodgers and the Giants, it was very just like, okay, and they're hyping it up as if it's going to be this huge thing. Jeffrey, what do you think?
As such historic franchises, I thought they would come with something a little bit more, like kind of like show off the city a little bit more within their jersey. Another thing I wanted to tail back to was the sneaker culture in MLB. Are we going to be wearing some Trouts in the near future? I mean, what are we going to be wearing? Because I believe sneaker culture is also going to make a huge name for itself in the upcoming years, you know, with players being able to design their own shoes and sell them, you know, be able to wear their own shoes, not having to buy it by Nike or buy it by Adidas, you know, wherever the league decides to go with that. I'm excited to be rocking some Mike Trouts.
Yeah, I think I would do it too. I know it's exciting. I definitely think, you know, I agree with what you're saying. Like the MLB's trying to tag along, you know, the NBA and football and the NFL are always like on trend with something new. You know, the NFL played a game on Nickelodeon last year and just kind of like trying to keep those younger fans entertained. And I think baseball's finally realizing, okay, we need to do something too to kind of get that new audience in, and you know, whether they can wear sneakers or these jerseys, like I think Hannah was saying, that you don't really hear about a ton of baseball jerseys selling out all the time. So the fact that it did, you know, and I know the Marlins jerseys had sold out pretty much too. So it's a good thing to hear for baseball as far as the future of their fans.
And I agree. And like I said, we're about to rock some Mike Trouts in the future. I'm saying when these shoe dudes keep on coming out, instead of the MJs, who's getting the Mike Trouts, who's getting the Otanis, you know, the dual threat player.
Oh gosh.
I mean, Nike's going to make a huge statement in the upcoming year, I believe, for baseball. You're going to see a lot more advertisements, a lot more, you know, commercialization of the sport. I feel like basketball and football have always had the edge in commercialization. You always saw, NBA on Wednesday night coming up. I mean, only time you ever really see baseball is when you're on ESPN's channel. You see ESPN Monday night. You know, you're not really seeing it on national channels. So once you start seeing these players and the MLB make it to even the highest stage, then we're really going to see some signatures out.
Yeah, well, I mean, when we see Jeffrey rocking Mike Trout's not too far from now, we'll let you know. We'll have to post it everywhere. Yeah. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk a little preseason NFL and some of our NFL bold predictions.
Welcome to the HTF Hot Wings Challenge. Do any of you guys actually do hot sauce like regularly?
No.
No.
It's like the least black thing I do.
Oh, wow, okay.
I say Johnny goes first on this one.
I agree.
No, the Buccaneers are going to play the Washington football team.
That can't happen.
It will happen.
I'm terrified.
No, I really hate it.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. No. You're wrong. If it wasn't for Kanye jumping up on stage and doing the "I'm gonna let you finish," but no one would know what this was.
Nitro's dump truck. And if you don't know what I'm talking about,
Why is Nacho thick?
I don't know how many squats I need to do to get up like something like that, but I will do it.
Oh! Oh my God!
Baseball, obvious reasons. Babe Ruth, if you want to go currently. I feel like that's just like a thing.
He jumped off the wall to catch the home run and had a We made it through all the way to the end. Thank you for joining us.
I'm never doing this again.
It was rough.
As we close out the show, I just want to do a rapid fire round of some of your NFL bold predictions. So we'll throw it to Jeffrey first. Say it with no explanation.
The Washington football team is making the playoffs this year. They are placing top 2 in the division and are making the playoffs this year.
Tom Brady's going for his next ring. That's it.
And I have to say, I think the Packers win and Aaron Rodgers retires immediately after. Who knows? We're excited to watch this season, so we'll see what happens. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back next week with an all-new episode talking more sports. Thanks for watching.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings on my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back, okay?